Act 3, Scene 6, Xanadu. So we've gotten kind of derailed. Xanadu upside down. Now it's still a little backwards, or at least the D was. At Den of Ardo. Huh, this thing is in rough shape. Do these switches do anything? Try blowing on it. Yeah, it's like it's a NES cartridge. Conway blows some dust off the keyboard and presses the return key. Okay, that's worse. Kinda looks like a house. Type house. House. In blood quit. And we have the word ease, but I don't know what else is supposed to be there. Remove the computer. Crying on their backs. Carrying on their backs. Did that say Lula? She's saying, "Oh, I have my portable degausser with me. Well, systems like this can build up a remnant of a magnetic field that sort of warps everything along a pattern, whatever pattern it's settled into, you know? The degausser clears that up by suddenly shaking the magnetic field around until it's uniform again. That's how I like to think of it anyway, like shaking the snow globe. Worth a shot." Hall of the Mountain King. I assume that's supposed to be king. Well, okay. Press any key to quit. This is a lost cause. What a piece of junk. Act 3, Scene 7. Hall of the Mountain King. Bizarre. What was that about Lula? Maybe Donald knows how to clear it up a bit. So, you've seen it for yourself. What's left of it? Is that the end? The chalky bones of a beautiful dream. But you can see what it once was, can't you? Can't you? There was so much more to it. Ornate labyrinths of memory, exhaustively simulated parallel caves ecosystems, real artificial intelligence built on sophisticated neural network algorithms. The birds in the forest could flock in 3 dimensions. The bats could learn to sing. And then it began to crumble. When the strangers came, first we only heard them, walking heavily through the caves, dragging things around, hammering and clattering their tools. Sometimes we heard working songs, never close enough to make out real voices, just their echoes cascading wordlessly in the tunnels. Then we caught a glimpse of one. What did they look like? They look like... no, it's too horrible. shouldn't be telling you about this. They're dangerous. They're strange. I should never have tried to outwit them. They were always too much for me. But it's too late now. If I'd listened to Lula, Lula? Lula Chamberlain? Yes, of course. Do you know her? We're looking for her now. She's gone now. She left. We built this together, didn't you know? Lula, Joseph, and I. Lula is gone from here, but... Donald points across the cave with his pipe. Still in there, in Xanadu. I don't know where Lula is now, or how to get there from here, or how to unwind that damn tangled highway, but Xanadu, before its ruin, was faultless as an oracle, a shrine to perfect simulation. Until... maybe? Those weird interlopers destroyed my Xanadu. Perhaps they know how to fix it. It may be dangerous. I've sent many eager seconds to negotiate with them, to repair my masterpiece. Back there, that tunnel. Push back the vines, crawl out into the darkness. Watch your step. After a while, you'll feel the terrain change beneath your hands and feet, from rock to crystal and then to mud. Then you'll be out. That's where the strangers come from. Now leave me alone. I still have a bit of mold in my pipe and a few dreams left. Scene 8. Where the strangers come from. What am I waiting for? Oh. Well, this can't be right. Looks like an old church. Worth a look inside, I guess. I want to stay outside. Have it your way. I'll stay with him. We can look for lizards. Okay, we'll make it quick. Wow. Headstone. Epitaph is engraved on the stone marker. Eric Malarkey, generous disposition will be missed. Below the inscription note is written in white chalk. Huh. Engraving. Devin Scott Turkin and Jeremy Douglas. We think you two would have really liked each other. Below the inscription, note is written in white chalk. I don't remember if this was on Kickstarter because these may be backer things. Madeline Burleson always had a far-off look. Probably still does. Below the inscription, note is written in white chalk. Aftertaste of rainwater. John Peterson or Christopher Robinson. Below the inscription, note is written in white chalk. Sweet and fungal. Jeff James would have wanted it this way. Q. Susan Dwyer should have said something. And she's X. Epitaph is on the marker. Unknown. Seemed reasonable. Why? Find any lizards? I wasn't really looking. Nice cover story, kid. Is that guy your boyfriend? What's a boyfriend anyway? It's a word people use because everyone else does. It doesn't mean anything to me. He's my cricket. See, it means something. It's specific. It sounds lonely. Not for us. Just gotta make choices and own them. You think I was born this foxy? I came off the assembly line a half-foot shorter and all gray, no eyes. They were going to have us clearing out the old mine. Doesn't matter what you look like under all that rock and water. A bunch of gray shadows shoveling and hammering invisibly at the walls, draining the tunnels. Johnny found some gear, an old tape player. We hid away in an underwater cave and listened to it over and over, and we knew we weren't miners. He slipped out onto the road, just these two featureless shadows. Ever since that night we've been detailing, coloring in, specifying. I feel more like myself every day. I feel more like myself when it's just me and Julian. Well, there, now you're getting specific. There you are. What'd you find in there? It wasn't... Hey, what's going on? You look flushed, old man. Doesn't matter. Right, okay, we got what we need. Let's go. Scene 9. Hall of the Mountain King. Donald. Trace an orbit round the road and close your eyes with holy dread, for we on mold and whiskey fed and drank from rivers down below. You found your strangers. We know how to fix your damn machine, but I'm not sure it was worth it. Oh, soon. The visions will return. What have you found? They say you need to type in a specific phrase to restore it. Oh. Bit of a poem to rally the illustrious spirit. Of course, well then, type away. By all means, do not hesitate, type away. Okay, folks, Klaatu Barada Nikto. Let's see if that actually is an option. And let's fire up Xanadu. Okay, we're supposed to type dome in air. Weird. Just following instructions. Here we go. Scene 10. Xanadu. At end of road. That's much clearer. You are standing at the end of a road before a small brick building. Around you is a forest. Let's check out the building. Enter building. Inside building. You are inside a building, a storage shed for the National Park Service. There's a sensible, modern electric lantern nearby. Once you take that lantern, taken. Exit building. Enter forest. That's not something you can enter. Just type a direction. North. In forest. open forest, with a deep valley to one side. Can we climb a tree? Climb tree. I don't think much is to be achieved by that. Sorry. How about we dig a hole? You can't see any such thing. Pretty limited vocabulary. South. You're in forest. Hey, it's a maze. Let's go east. You're in a forest. Lula is here, soldering replacement components in a small handmade radio. Ask Lula how she's doing. Hi, Donald. We're getting the strangest interference out here. I've been tuning the radio circuits gradually as we go, swapping capacitor values and tweaking resistor networks. It was working for a while, but everything I can pick up sounds so distant and muffled. Lula hands you the radio. Well, maybe you'll have better luck. You're good at this stuff. Just don't forget to give it back. Let's go west. You're in forest. Joseph is here, tapping with a small stylus on a modified pocket braille slate. A small gray kitten, no more than a few weeks old, dozes comfortably on top of his backpack. Listen. Donald, I was just transcribing your footsteps. Sounded like... Joseph runs his finger along the index card he's been tapping on from right to left. A long, weary song, dearly gone. Dearly gone. You made a melancholy shuffle through these woods, Donald. Ha! I've been noting the sounds of the forest with an ear for speech and an inborn filter for poetry, I suppose. So maybe it's me being melancholy after all. I'm eager to see what poetic subsystem makes of these punch cards. Going south. At edge of hole. You are at the edge of a massive hole. The dirt gives way to rock as the ground sinks into darkness. The computer tied to your upper back slickens with sweat in the afternoon sun. The rope slung around your shoulder has slipped under the strap of your backpack, digging uncomfortably against your collarbone. Yell into the hole first, see if there are pirates. Yell. I only understand you as far as wanting to yell. Yell any pirates down there. No response. Sorry, kid. You're batting 0 today. At least we know there's no pirates. Light lamp. Your lamp is now on. Shine lamp in hole. Lamplight only reaches a few yards down the hole where the rock is coated in a slimy black mold. You can tell that the walls are too slick to climb safely without assistance. Try using the rope to climb down safely. Tie rope to tree. Rope is tied snugly to a tree trunk. Down. Your feet slip a few times on the slimy rock, but you remain stable. Lula and Joseph descend carefully after you. In bed quilt. You are in bedquilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. Joseph and Lula remove the computer equipment they're carrying on their backs and begin setting up. That's the last trip, so everything's down here now. Set up the gear. I only understand you as far as wanting to set up the above. Set up the above. Lula looks pensive. Ask her where the treasure is. If we knew that, we wouldn't have to set up down here. I know you think this environment will help our project, get us in touch with a deep romantic reverence for some kind of profound natural spookiness, but I was more comfortable in our lab. University picked the worst time to cut our funding, typical institutional stinginess and academic politics, and I felt like we were getting really close to something. Anyway, I don't know if it's sustainable down here, you know, to live and work here together. Ask Lula about cave. Having second thoughts? I don't blame you. It's unsettling down here. Weird acoustics. Earlier, as we were climbing down, I thought I heard voices for a moment. Or not voices themselves, but the echoes of voices. Singing some kind of eerie, tuneless working song. Glad I'm not down here alone. Joseph looks uncomfortable. Jealous. Hey, Donald, can you help me, wire up these generators? I'll assemble the synthesizer, but I can use some help with the serial interface if you have time. You hear an unfamiliar echo from a tunnel to the east. Let's fire up those generators. I appreciate it, Donald. I'm not much of an electrician, you know. You know that. Just fancy a bundle of wires. His skin curls up in a spool of cabling. Listen, the three of us had a good thing for a minute. What'd you say, up at the old place, before it got ugly? I'm saying, we came down here to work. To really do it. Xanadu. And, I mean, we've got to be rational about this. All three of us have to put our feelings aside for a bit and be rational. You know what I'm saying? Is he talking about Lula? Kinda creepy. Tell Joseph to back off. Joseph wipes his brow with a dusty sleeve. Seems, down here, we're all strangers. Permanently strange. You're interrupted by the ominous echo of a grating, scraping sound from the east, louder than before. What the hell was that? Let's check it out. In tunnels. You rush down the tunnel with Joseph and Lula close behind. How do you like all this, kid? There's a lot of reading, but I'm really good at that anyway. The tunnel narrows, and soon you find yourself crawling on your hands and knees. Navigating the tunnel gradually becomes more awkward as smooth rock gives way to jagged crystalline surfaces. Scratches and taps echo from the end of the tunnel, some short and piercing, some slower and groaning as if dampened by water. The tunnel opens into a large room. Crystal room. You are in a large, irregular chamber. The walls, floor, and ceiling are covered with crystalline projections. Strangers are here, scraping black mold from the crystals. They look when you enter. One of them seems about to speak. Finally. Let's listen. The stranger reaches for a box he's carrying and presses a plastic button. The box whirs to life, and crackly voice blurts out something unintelligible, then slows to a deep gurgle. Looks at his companions momentarily in confused disappointment. Then he returns his awful gaze to you. Joseph flees through a tunnel to the north. Lula flees through a tunnel northeast. I don't know, Lula? Run north. Lula's headlamp scans across the northern passage as you run. Soft shadows loom perplexingly from floor to ceiling. You feel around to distinguish shadow from crystal, but eventually find yourselves cornered. You've hit a dead end. Who are they? Let's find a way out. Escape. That's not a verb I recognize. Look for escape. You can't see any such thing. Listen, I think they've gone back to work. They seem strange somehow. Maybe they've forgotten about us. Alright, let's try to pass them quickly now. Don't make eye contact. Then we'll find our way back to the equipment. This segment is really long. You are in bed quilt. Lula is here, panting for breath. Did they follow us? Where's Joseph? Search for him. I only understand you as far as wanting to search. You have to be more specific. Down one of the tunnels. You select a tunnel at random. Your lantern illuminates several sets of footprints out on the moldy cave floor, but they are impossible to identify. Search equipment. Various computer and audio equipment cast angular shadows into the tunnels. As you scan slowly across the pile, nothing. Joseph climbs down from the rope still tied above. That damn sound, those damn voices. I don't even know what direction I was running. I wove through that network of tunnels. I ran my hand along the wall, always turning left. Where every turn and every rock felt the same. For all I knew, I was running in circles. Finally, I ended up here. And I hid. I panicked. I heard you talking, but I didn't think I could trust my senses. Well, listen, there's one thing I have to tell you. While I was out there lost in the tunnels and caves, I came across the Zero, and I had no idea. It's like a real place. They pick up garbage, they deliver mail, they go to work and church. But it's an awful kind of emptiness. Wandering through, I heard horrible echoes. Weird images got burned in my mind's eye. A television, a scarecrow, a crystal, a feather, a sandwich, a CRT monitor, a bottle, an anchor. Lulu looks down at her feet. You should ask him more about that. Donald, you've heard the same damn stories I have, but it's different. It doesn't matter now, damn it, I'm leaving. To hell with all of it. Get him back on track, we're so close. Divert Joseph's attention. You shout something at Joseph about the project you're working on together. You'll die in these damn cold caves, and what about those men? You know they'll come back. Tell him we can find somewhere to start a fire. You shout something at Joseph about going deeper into the caves. Did you hear their voices? They're not... They'll find you, but not me. I'm going back to the surface. Stop, your stupid fight is ringing through the whole damn cave. Joseph's right, we can't stay here. I'm leaving too, but I'm not going back to the surface. I'm taking my station wagon and I'm heading down to Zero. I think we need her to stay. You plead with Lulu about your continued collaboration. I'll send you this tape when I'm done recording. I'll put it in the mail and then you can see what your damn machine does with it. Lulu and Joseph have left. And that's where the story ends, I assume. In tunnels. Abandoned by your collaborators, your confidants, your companions, the only two among your colleagues with whom you've ever trusted the gift of your friendship. Pretty thick. Sounds like Beardo had his heart broken. You wander through the tunnel alone, dragging along the components of your unrealized masterpiece, combing the underground passages for a new site in which to realize your vision. Sounds like a genius. How do you mean? Vain. Vanity. Ain't it the truth? My Aunt Remedios, before she got into the whole ethnomusicography thing, she was a painter, mostly nudes and oil. She had this model. I'll never forget him. Big, classically physical guy. Looked like he was about to storm Troy. He made everyone call him the Colonel. Weaver and I saw this guy naked a lot. He couldn't help it. He was always posing somewhere in the house, chasing the light from room to room while Aunt Remedios made a sketch of his profile or worked on the right mix of pigments for his abdomen. Colonel had magnificent hair, long black hair that ran down to the bottom of his shoulder blades. One evening he was standing next to an open window in the back of the house. The sun was setting, early spring, I think. It was kind of windy. Aunt Remedios was trying to get his hair right. She kept arranging it, like half in front and half behind, right over his shoulder and laying across his chest in this very specific way. But it itched him or something, and he'd do this weird, indignant shuffle thing, or the wind from the open window would push it around, and he'd start and turn his neck whenever Weaver and I ran by, and everything would be tangled again. The final product was a swirl of black lines, billowing around the top of his neck. Weird thing is, I don't even remember his face now, just that black swirl. Probably the best one she ever painted. Hall of the Mountain King. Here we are. After what may have been years, you stumble out of a tunnel into a cavernous open space. Stalactites adorn the ceiling like grotesques. In the center of the room is an enormous rocky spire. This is where you will set up your equipment and establish your legacy. The computer's gone sentient. When will it dispatch the Terminators for us? Now is the time to continue your work. Research assistance, 0. Realism index, 37%. Romance index, 2%. Mold coverage, 0%. You may hire a new research assistant, assign assistance to a task, or sleep until tomorrow. Hire assistant. Uploading job advertisement to university message boards. You've hired Roberta, who studies fairy tales. Hire. No one knew. Okay, let's assign. So let's toss her on speculation. Now we need someone new. Okay, let's try sleeping. Time passes. We're to discard centuries of exhaustive data on the uniformity of cause and effect. Now is the time to continue your work. Mold coverage 8%. Amy, human-computer interaction. We are going to put her in debugging. Let's sleep. Amy widens tunnels slightly to reduce the need for extra crouch commands. Roberta summarizes the migratory patterns of bats through the tunnels. Greasy black molds collecting on the computer equipment. Now is the time to continue your work. Realism index is at 47%, romance is at 0, mold coverage is now at 16. We have Weaver, who studied mathematics. Now we're going to throw one on each of them. Sleep. Roberta makes adjustments to the echolocation algorithm. Bats now fly normally instead of getting hung up on each other's wings and clustering together like horrible leathery tumbleweeds. Amy extensively notates tunnel diameter as a function of length. Weaver posits that nature, not reason, is the master of industry. Intruders. Strange they're doing something to the equipment, but you can't make out what. You hide behind a rock until they leave. With trepidation, you emerge from your hiding place hours later. Now is the time to continue your work. I'm not convinced this can get any closer to the 0. 32, 0. We have Greg. I'm gonna toss 2 in transcription. One on debugging. Sleep. Roberta identifies a bug with oxygen level simulation but is unable to fix it. Weaver types up some lurid imagery from a dream journal. Greg transcribes the sound of dripping water in all variations over the period of several hours. Edibility of stone. Weaver follows the strangers to the tunnel. She doesn't return, but neither do they. Back down to 3. And I'm going to throw them all in debugging right now, just to try to speed this up. Well, we almost hit the maximum on the realism index. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay. We've got stuff to do. Are you sure you want to quit? That was a rhetorical question. Exit. But you aren't in anything at the moment. Maybe we have to lose or die somehow in order to start over? Smash the computer. Violence isn't the answer to this one. Maybe we have to wait it out. Wait indefinitely. Time passes. Research assistants come and go. You don't encounter the strangers again, but snows you can hear the uncanny echo of their voices off in the tunnels. Years pass. Mold accumulates. You and the remaining research assistants take to burning disused equipment in the center of the room. The black mold is intensely flammable and makes an excellent catalyst. It leaves behind a sweet, narcotic perfume. One night you have visitors, outsiders, different ones. Then, later that night, an old friend. You really did go deeper into the caves. Premature end of file. Press any key to quit. Huh. So Lula's here now. Act 11. Back to the Hall of the Mountain King. Let's try talking to Donald first. Maybe not. You really did go deeper into the caves. Well, you're easy enough to find. Met a few of your former assistants. One can't help but hear things. So this is what became of our project. Oh, I made some additions. Joseph stole the data tapes for the first half, so I had some blank spots to fill. Yes, I know. He published his version, actually. Sorry to report that it's a bit tediously sentimental. We found your doctor. Oh, good. Yes, you're looking not well, to be honest. You smell like a distillery. Have you been drinking? We've been looking for you. You found the address data. Just pass over to Donald here. Donald, will you be a dear and crunch these numbers? We're looking to sort out a street name Collision. Dogwood Drive. Wasn't the Bureau going to process it? I insist. I have cycles to spare. I'll just pack my pipe and get to it. Should only be an hour or so. Angela will carry it over to... I'll be at the Bureau for the rest of the night. Just market private materials for the attention of Senior Clerk Chamberlain. How do we get to the Bureau from here? The bridge. Yes, the bridge. Through the gate over there. Now we too recede into history. Good night, Donald. Meet me at the Bureau, and we'll get you on your way. Head counterclockwise to the cathode ray, then turn around. That's just clockwise till you find the Bureau. Between us, I think you should drive. This took long enough. If that was there or not. This wasn't. Probably should have looked at the backpack then, since this might be different. Partway up the path, before the project was abandoned. This might come in handy. Batteries are dead. Homer! Thanks for waiting, Homer. What have you been up to? Keeping Johnny your company? What happened up there? Just a bunch of computers. Into the truckmobile. So we're looking for the anchor. What the? About a dozen children are gathered in a shallow, dry basin to the side of the road. They are seated on overturned pots and pans arranged in 3 configurations. One group of 5 children are clustered to the right. One group are arranged loosely in the center, all facing an older girl who sits on 3 pans stacked together. The boy at the head of the arrangement looks sternly down on another child. A younger boy kneeled on the stone floor without a pot to sit on. A spare stock pot, perhaps belonging to the younger boy, is set at the side. Let's stand next to the younger boy. The girl nods solemnly to Ezra. One girl takes a wide green leaf from the floor next to her and pretends to read off a list of charges. The younger child is accused of making agreements for trading card exchanges which he was not able to honor. Judge asks for a witness to testify. The boy describes the participants and events depicted on the trading card he was to receive, makes related claims about the defendant's nature. Ezra is prompted to argue on behalf of his client. Claim prejudice. Judge considers the facts and declares a mistrial. Groups of children reconfigure themselves and a new trial begins with the former defendant now as judge. So we got our client off. Although he was probably guilty as hell, we'll just chalk it up to the system failing. Okay, I'm turning around. The cat carrier. We're looking for an anchor though. Cathode ray. The sprocket. The anchor. Clockwise to the anchor, then counterclockwise to the whirlpool. Don't really care about the boat right now. Pressing against the whirlpool we're looking for. Then go clockwise. The Rust Archives are housed in a low wooden building with angular flourishes and glass. Shannon enters alone up a shallow ramp and through glass doors. A young woman in a wheelchair staffs the front desk. She smiles politely. 2 folders are stacked on the desk. An orange one labeled Wheat Tree, Mexico City, VAM, Station Wagon 1974. And a green one sculpted Wheat Tree, Elizabethtown, Connecticut, Sculpture 1968. So let's hit up the orange one. Shannon enters, switches on a lamp inside the small room, sits down with the orange folder. More documents. First sample. Second sample. Let's try the green folder. Okay, this seems to be a waste of a trip. We're looking for the scarecrow. cathode ray. Found the bureau already, even though I wasn't actually seeking it. The brick sandwich. I guess the only thing to turn is the still. Cave wall doesn't come in any flat here. Tall ladder leans across it. Let's record her. Okay, that was a little creepy. Okay, I'm getting ready to throw in the towel on this. Okay, one last stab. Looking for the crystal. Scene 12. Conway and Junebug. Gonna stretch a bit. How's your leg? Not my leg. Okay. Marianne. Oh, hi. Hello there. What's your name? Ezra, what are you doing? Just clearing my head. Turpentine is good for that. Clears the sinuses and the cobwebs. I only do watercolors at home. My apartment is carpeted and the landlord's paranoid it'll soak up the fumes. But these storage spaces are pretty cheap and the ventilation is good so I can play with oil paints here. Cheaper than a studio. What are you painting? Sometimes landscape, sometimes color fields. I just like to use the whole canvas. Keep your eyes moving. Back into the night for us. I'm pretty sure they made this even more complex than last time. Yeah, I'm giving up. Hopefully I'm not missing something important. Act 13. Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces. Homer! And their costumes changed once again. Hey, you see the cat over there? Think she needs some bread? Well, more for you than Homer. To reception. And it looks like we have control of Shannon, and we have Junebug coming with us. Lula. Here you are. Marianne has the rest of the evening off, so I'm minding the desk. Any word on the address? Results just came in by courier. Good news. Donald and his assistants were able to sort through the noise. I had Rick Cross reference the results against some of our records. He found a corresponding mail stop on the Echo River route. As it happens, the night ferry schedule will make it stop here shortly. Ferryman carries the mail and collects the garbage as well. I'm sure you can catch a ride out that way. You're welcome to wait here. I have to get back to packing. Are you going somewhere? I might. I'm feeling impulsive and I'd like to be ready. Maybe in Mexico. It's been years. I still have one of my sculptures in a museum down there. Did you know? Big, ugly iron thing. Time to have it scrapped anyway. Safe travels. Try and stay out of the water. It's colder than it looks and deep. Ah, we can't go over here now. Ah, here's our wake command. Not seeing any other bubbles pop up, so yeah, we're waiting. How long do we have to wait? Who knows? Alright, what happened? What? In the church, at the graveyard. You two came out there all weird. What happened? It's okay, you can tell them. It doesn't matter anymore. Fine. So, we were in that graveyard. Act 14. Where did the strangers come from? Yeah, I didn't want to wait around again. This can't be right. Looks like an old church. Worth a look inside. Let's take a look at the floor. Church floor is cold metal, scuffed and flexed by unknown boot heels. I don't know what I expected. The strangers, he kept saying. Kind of vague already, isn't it? Donald's a stranger. Hell, you and I are practically strangers. Listen, earlier in the mine, I didn't want to talk about it, but... You don't have to talk about it. No, it's okay, I want to. When I saw Weaver, she was on TV. I was testing a pretty simple tube repair, flipping through channels to check the saturation, and she was just there. It was kind of horrible. I mean, I told you she disappeared, suddenly, ran away, but we thought... You thought she was dead. Yeah, I guess I don't like to say it. Dead. Then, the next time I flipped to channel 2, Weaver. It's burned in my vision now. She's standing in a room. The walls are a blank kind of gray. There's tape on the walls like markings and desks. A classroom, maybe? Camera's in the corner, so it's the sort of 45-degree angle into the room, and there's Weaver right there in the center of the picture. I stopped turning the dial. Hell, I think I stopped breathing. Eventually she spoke, but there was no real sound. Just this awful hum. I read the closed captions. She said go to the mine. I'd find something there. I can't remember her exact words. Whenever I try, I get distracted. Fuzzy. Shannon coughs into her sleeve. It's so dusty in here, right? Real dusty. You'd think with all these holes in the ceiling. What the hell was that? Did you hear that? We should check outside. A trapdoor. And now we're in the real church. Visitors. Stranger activates the tape player slung on his shoulder. Crackly drawl echoes in the room. It is patient. It sounds like it should be smiling. My regrets. I hope I didn't keep you waiting long. We don't see a lot of foot traffic these days. Guess you hear about the job. Fear we only have one opening at the moment. Horrible business. We're actually looking for some information about an old computer. Certainly, I'll tell you everything you need to know. I've only just met you, but I feel there's a certain place for you here. I'll just take you over to meet the dispatcher, show you the trucks, get you familiarized. We can converse as we go. What is this place? Some kind of factory? Maybe, but for what? Why hidden away like this? What's that smell? Like bread. Baking bread. Please, follow me. I have to ask you to step in here a moment. This is for your safety and adjust your outfits a bit. There's some protective headwear up on the wall back there. Please remove your shoes and eyeglasses. We don't wear glasses. So, that won't be an issue. I'll do us a favor and put on the headwear anyway. Just this way. More new arrivals this evening. Plenty to do. Got to relay the formula. What formula? Oh, the formula. Changed our lives. Once, years ago, we were as prisoners to the intricacies of our debts here. We have to account for everything on paper. Compounding interest by hand, reassessing amortization, and leveraged asset distributions according to nightly merit decay. Then she stepped out of the dark caves to show us the light of the formula. She had a brilliant grasp of mathematics and a saint-like way of speaking right through the numbers. Now we just plug our daily numbers into the formula and run it all through the adding machine. We occasionally suffer some surplus drift, but she instructed us on all the necessary adjustments. It was devastating to see a revered mathematician go, but she was needed elsewhere. Her legacy abides. No, the orientation is done all by voice and route. We don't believe electronics have a role in our company culture. Computers are tools. Plenty of interesting mechanical this and that ahead. Though, shall we move on? Wow, check this stuff out. It must be decades old, but it's in perfect condition. You really like old electronics. Yeah, I've got it bad. That's why I got into this business, to keep old stuff like this running. Seems like such a shame to let it just fall into ruin, you know, like the computer back in the cave of Xanadu. Decades of engineering, thousands of years of mathematics and philosophy, all petrified in a living stone. How can you just let that fall apart? Here's the fleet. Oh, we just use these to get around internally. What do you do here? I'm a copywriter. Text on bottles and flyers and copy, that sort of thing. Discerning shades and heartsick lovers have long known the taste of hard times and held it in favor over all their spirits. That was one of mine. So the trucks are just eastaways and shipping. You can become acquainted with our dispatcher there. Give me a tap on the shoulder if you see something that catches your eye. Always happy to show off the facilities. Sublime machinery. Okay, this place is huge if they're giving us a car to navigate. Spirit safe. Confidentially, don't let them catch you looking too closely here, now within our purview. What's it for? Keeps us honest in the eyes of the state. Well, in the eyes of the management, anyway. We keep pretty well out of view here. Not much chance to be spotted by helicopter, eh? Well, if the law came knocking, we could say we were logging and securing our virgin spirits, we could say. More or less engineering, though, isn't it? Please, don't touch a thing. Very sensitive devices. We're not even allowed to run the formula through them. We have some computer issues of our own. Computers. Personally, I am opposed, on principle. Am I boring you yet? Are you simply dying of boredom? I myself could discuss the matter past sunrise. Trying to fix this old computer in the caves. Of course I'm boring you. Let's move on. More of these old computers. Looks like about the same vintage of the stuff in the cave. What's this little screen for? Good eye. This is an XY monitor. They use them in oscilloscopes and arcade games. Or they used to, anyway. It's rare stuff. Hey, is this like antiquing with a little set for you? I probably sound some kind... I probably sound kind of ridiculous. Waxing on about vacuum tubes and oscilloscopes. It's good to have a passion. I guess it is. Someday you have to tell me what yours is. Hold on. Crud, I meant to click this. How goes the mystery, Danny? Danny's an enigma. He leases an old iron van from our fleet for some kind of daily art project. He drives out every morning and comes back by evening smelling of propellants. Can't afford the lease in cash, so he pays us with work here. Ted. How's it looking, Ted? Get that new fan installed? Ted met one of our engineers at a bar some years ago, and they just clicked. Our engineer told him about some trouble with the equipment here, and he felt compelled to take a crack at it. Ted's been obsessively tuning, replacing, and upgrading ever since. Quite a project, Ted. He'll get ahead of it one day, I'm sure. Yeah, there is someone here. Connie, how's your rat? Connie is a great lover of animals. Do you know she's adopted over a dozen pets and as many as of the last years? Of course, death comes to all things great and small. The distillery found that the remains in our makeshift pet cemetery were trespassing on our subterranean property. Our hand was forced. In order to avoid the legal extinguishment of our easement, we were forced to file a civil suit. Ever at the level head, Connie agreed to a pre-court settlement to pay off her fines by working for us here. Feel that draft of warmth like a summer breeze? This is the aging warehouse. How many casks have you got aging in there? I couldn't say exactly. Take a look at the inventory report later if you like. Plenty, though. Of course, we only have half our aging stock in here at any given time. Most distilleries let their whiskey sit in casks through the cycle of seasons. In summer, the wood expands and the whiskey seeps in, picking up flavor. In winter, the wood contracts and squeezes the whiskey back out. Down here, there are no seasons. Each workday proceeds from the last in an unbroken chain of climate control. So we make our own seasons. Each cask alternates in a weekly cycle between the cold ground upstairs and this heated warehouse. So I guess these are like before and after? The new casks will look like they could be used for anything. Yeah, before they get all warped and stained. Really can't undo that, can you? No way to clean them after the aging process. I mean, it's a one-way street. Well, I'm pretty sure you could bury a few people in them. You put them in there before cremation, watch them burn for a week. Here it is. Now I have to ask, as a matter of course, what kind of experience do you have driving trucks? I used to drive long hauls. It's a lonely kind of thing, or so I hear. You can drive safely, can't you? I haven't any doubt now. It's only after what happened with Miguel this evening. Been driving all my life, for better or worse. I suppose that's all you must say? I like that. Never say more than you must. It's boastful and ugly. I do pity ill-fated Miguel. He was good company, and slow to anger. But if we're speaking confidentially, well, with all that lost product to be repaid, bourbon and glass stashed across the interstate, and a few casks too, we're just thankful he had no next of kin. So let's see if we can ring up the dispatcher. So that's the accident from earlier. Doolittle starts the truck and switches on the CB radio. 1020 on the loud, come back. Up the Hummingbird Cave, 1012, City Kitty. This is a good time to dispatch. We may have found Miguel's replacement. Thought you might like to get acquainted. 10-9, come again. Introduce yourself. Pleased to meet you. Tell dispatch something impressive about yourself. They're very well regarded here. You folks know anything about a moldy computer? 99 wheel holder, gotta pay the water bill. Ah, so. I'm certain they'll call back before long. Let's take a look around the truck, eh? Headlights. Headlights work fine, see? That's important. Most of our product goes out at night. You never know what you'll run into in the daylight, and dusk can be treacherously misleading with all that indirect light. Magic hour, eh? Drivers sleep in the day, then? Sure, those that sleep. Miguel pulled extra day shifts when he could. Sometimes he'd help me. You know, sometimes in bottling. He shouldn't have been out driving at dusk. Weird shadows, soft light, dangerous. Headlights look, pretty okay. That they do. Moving on. Control wipers with this knob here. They seem to have decent torque to them, eh? Can't say how they'd fare in an ice storm, but we must never delay a shipment. Better to assume the risk. Always clear skies down here. So I hear, most of our product is delivered by surface roads, which feel rain quite often, particularly in the spring months, so I hear. They ditched class for the day to drive in the rain. It's pointless to stay. I'll review. He was a lost cause and she needed anyway. She was smart, bored. It was time to cut out. Shitty day for it, though. 83 in biblical flood. They went to see a movie. Some kind of anonymous swashbuckler film. About real men and women. Real tights, real lips, fake blood. They brought a flask. Smoked cigarettes, drank awful hooch, whistled buckets of rain. She's thinking about someone she wanted once to have loved. Brown hair curled around her ear. She had a voice like Scotch whiskey. They poured another drink, and another, and another. She was worried it was getting dark out. Then it was getting light out. They ended up in someone else's field, in someone else's car. An early morning joyride, and a sunrise collision. She got on the bus and hiked back to his car. He sat in his car and went over some options. Chicago? Toronto? Barrow? It seemed like a bold and impulsive gesture at the time, as he pulled out of the parking lot. He removed his hands from the steering wheel for a moment and felt the car drift into a decision. Years later, he thinks this is the moment he himself started drifting. Modest technology, but suited the job, eh? Plenty good enough. Oh, sure. I know you'll want to look. Kick the tires. That's the thing we do, isn't it? As though our knees could exert that kind of force these tires see out there on the road, we're more likely to hurt ourselves. Isn't it the way, eh? Sure, they're big machines, but they can be fragile. Absolutely. A truck deserves care and fearful respect. Like a glass elephant. Miguel was a good driver, but he didn't have that quality of deference. Conway sat in a dim room with folding chairs. The wall and ceiling were painted with old smoke. Someone read from the book. He drank coffee as it is. He listened. The speaker listed all the things we tried. Most people in the room were probably there by court order. Few others shared. They spoke in abstractions like a program of action, a good orderly direction, spiritual but not religious, religious but not spiritual. All the things we tried. When it was over, they clasped sweaty hands through a short prayer and stepped back into the morning. He knew it was time to hit the bar. It was good to get out of the heat, away from the mendacity, and settle into it. Someone else from the meeting was here looking rough. He started a conversation. She was on a bender, weak and counting. She arrived at the meeting drunk and sat in the back because she didn't believe in it. She read a lot of French books, didn't believe in anything but the benign indifference of the universe. It was comforting, in its way. She had to prefer one thought or a day over any other. All she had to do was drink and stay indifferent. What else can we show you? Looks like it's just about ready to go out. We have some good, strong folks in shipping here, so you never need to worry about loading if you don't want to. A bit hard on the knees and back in our age, eh? Of course, you'll have to unload at the destination, but that's the job, and some drivers like the extra shift stacking and loading here. Shouldn't really do any lifting these days. I see, well, surely we can spare a dolly and carrying strap for your health and safety. Conway woke up on baled hay. Everything was too bright. His head hurt, the usual. Sid and Ira argued loudly just outside the open barn door. She wanted Ira to take him inside and shower, have some coffee, and get to the job. Ira said there wasn't time. Conway was in no condition. It was an important job. They couldn't put it off. Ira said to let the deadbeat sleep it off and then send him packing. He said Charlie could do the job. Conway stepped out of the barn and shielded his eyes. He tried to say something reassuring, but just sort of stumbled around it. Sent looked away. Ira just spat and went inside to wake Charlie. Ira was a stubborn man, so Charlie went along, and Conway drifted out again. He didn't hear about the accident until months later. Truck's radio crackles back to life. Driver, come back. Ah, there's the dispatch. Now, tell them about your experience. Tell them the truck's in good shape. Tell them you'll start in the morning. I really can't. Yeah, we've got to finish this delivery in a few. 10:33 dispatch, got 2 black eyes and a flock of crocodiles. Come back. 10:04, back it down, prick your eyelids. Oh, driver. Come back, Lum. 10:04. Come back, wheel holder. Dispatch is addressing you. He's here, dispatch. Got your ears on? Good, listen to this. So, I think that went well. Let's head back up to logistics and seal the deal, eh? And I've got one more thing to show you. So, the lights went out. For a second there I was wondering if he was going to hit the car or not. Let's head back upstairs, eh? I have one more thing to show you. Wait, we only came here looking for some answers about this stupid moldy computer. Oh, the old man in the cave with the moldy computer. That black mold, it's drawn to whiskey. It feeds on ethanol fumes, you see? As we age the whiskey, some of it inevitably evaporates into the air, the angels share. It goes through the vents here and out into the caves. If we scrape up that mold, we can usually apply some pressure and cold to it, squeeze and condense the angels share back into drinkable whiskey. Every drop counts when you're making a living on the stuff. So we'd go down and scrape it off his equipment just like any other place it grows. Kept sending us people here to drive us away. Paranoid. Truly paranoid. Well, now we have the formula, so we don't need to go collecting mold. We didn't do anything to his moldy computer, he just forgot the password. One of his assistants shared it with me. Dome in air. That'll get you going, I'm sure of it. So, join me upstairs. Okay, we have to go further up, I'm guessing. If you don't mind. Adding machine. Here it is. A beauty, wouldn't you say? It's an antique, you know. What is it? Why, it's an adding machine. This is where we come for our daily ritual, to calculate the day's interest and repayment according to the formula. I usually do so at the beginning of my shift, so I know how many hours I need in order to keep up. Yes, I believe you'll do well here, sir. Happy to have you. Congratulations, you're hired. Wait, we can't. It's customary here to start each day with a shift drink. Let's make it special. Mark the occasion. This is the top shelf stuff now. Single barrel. He doesn't. Down the hatch. Vinum Memoriae Mors. Decent enough. Welcome aboard. He's not working for you. We have to get back to this. He has a delivery to make. What's this? Not working. Are you turning down this opportunity? She's right. I have to make this, I'm disappointed. I'm afraid that leaves us with a delicate problem. As I indicate, this is top-shelf stuff you're drinking now. It isn't cheap. If it's not your first shift drink, well, and there's the matter of this tour just now. My time and experience are billed at quite a premium. This is not good for you, my friend. You're in quite deep. By the back of my envelope Estimations. Well, we have that in common, I suppose, all of us. Yes, I'm afraid you'll have to work this off somehow. It's just the way of it. What's happening right now? You can start tomorrow. Take the time to settle your affairs, of course. The interest begins to compound immediately, and, well, we'll go over the formula when you get here. I should get back to work. See you tomorrow, then. So, I guess I start in the morning. I guess. I'm confused. It's just the way these things go, kid. Well, that still gives us a few hours to roam, right? Where's that ferry? And I think this is the end of part 3. I'm really curious on how long part 4 is going to last at this rate. I think I'd definitely be in favor of more installments of shorter length rather than this. This was kind of overkill. And they stole a mammoth. Can't take them anywhere. Yep, end of Act 3. So I don't know how long this has been. I may have to cut this into multiple parts just to get it to upload on YouTube at a reasonable pace. But someday in the future, I don't know when, we can pick up with Act 4 and hit the 80% point through the story, because right now we're at 60%. But that's it for now. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.